Well, guys, I am back in the office now after a supposedly week-long vacation, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Lee. I was planning on talking about that on Friday, but I know that we ended up talking about some other things. But talking about Lee, right? So Lee, quick recap, right? He was former head, China's head of their negotiations with the WTO, their interface with the WTO. He's also the person that Scott Bessent sort of accused as coming to Washington uninvited, acting sort of like unhinged and perhaps going rogue. And so now we've sort of seen reported out that Lee has sort of been removed from his WTO post, right? And a lot of Western media is sort of framing this as a win for the US. And I want to advise caution. Lee has not been removed from political duties, from negotiating duties. He has been replaced. This has been planned. We sort of, if you look at the time frame on when his successor was starting to submit her qualifications and such, this seems to be in plan prior to Scott Bessent's comments on Lee being unhinged, and this sort of frees Lee up to sort of champion negotiations between China and the United States. So what's different about Lee? Well, so Lee is this highly experienced lawyer, right? Educated in China and in the West, in Germany, right? He has for years been successful in talking with the WTO nations on behalf of China. And so I think we're looking at like entering a new phase of these US China negotiations. Prior, it's all been very, bilateral. It's just China and the US and China, and that's how they're negotiating. I think bringing someone in like a Lee, who sort of has this multinational, multi-component, multi-variable context in terms of trade to the U.S. negotiations, I think we're going to see more chip stacking. China sort of trying to leverage other relationships, right, to try and gain as favorable terms as possible with the U.S. And I think Besant and the U.S. team needs to be aware that China's going to take a new tact here. They're not going to be approaching this with the same playbook that they've been approaching since April, right? That this is sort of like a new phase. Anyway, it's all sort of very exciting, if not a little bit nerve-wracking to watch. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Like always, like and subscribe. Your margins will thank you.